look at the Assembly of First Nations, it's been around for a number of years. And any organization is never perfect. Well, let's do the assessment, what's working, what isn't working, and make recommendations for changing it to make it more effective and efficient. We've got to start that process, no question. But when you think of the AFN, if it was not for the Assembly of First Nations, you wouldn't have Section 35 in Canada's Constitution. The AFN brought that in. If it wasn't for the Assembly of First Nations, you wouldn't have a multi-million-dollar payout for residential school abuses. You wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. You wouldn't even have the Specific Claims Tribunal. So the AFN has done things, but it can do more. We can't rest on our laurels because there's just so much programs and policy and rights recognition that has to be moved forward. So the AFN, if it's united, can do things in a good way, in an effective way for our people. Because we've got to deal with comprehensive claims. You know, for the first time ever, through the Chilcotin decision, the Williams case, Aboriginal rights and title is recognized and affirmed. The Supreme Court of Canada has recognized that. No longer can industry just come in and take the resources. No longer can governments dismiss it. No longer can governments have a policy of extinguishment when it comes to rights and title. They have to recognize Indigenous peoples have rights. So how do you move towards policy and legislative change? You know, no longer can you have a policy, a self-government policy based on extinguishment. You know, we've got rights. So the Assembly of First Nations, by being united, should be a house big enough for Aboriginal rights and title. By being united, should be a house big enough to move towards treaty implementation. By being united and working together, we can make that difference and make sure that the Assembly of First Nations is an organization that is more relevant and responsive and respectful of the diversity. But we can only do that through a strong, united, collective voice. And our elders have always said, one drum, one fire, one camp, one pipe to keep our people united. And we can do that if we stand together and work together in a collective, harmonized way.